Alright, let's do the Chapter 5 sample test. It doesn't say this on there, but this is the sample test. So it's not the actual test, so don't turn it in as the actual test. Okay. It says find out what g of f of 0. So this might be kind of small, so I'm going to rewrite f of x is 2e to the x. G of x is 3x minus 2. But you should have a copy of it. And then h is these points. And I'll mention those if I need them. So g of f of 0 could also be written this way. So I got to put 0 into f. So I'm going to have 2e to the 0. E to the 0 is 1 times 2 is 2. So the f of 0 is 2, and then I got to take g of that. So I put 2 into here, and I get 6 minus 2, which is 4. So this answer is 4. The next one says to put f of x into g. F of x is all of this, so I'm going to put all of that in for the x and g. So I'm going to have for g of f of x, I'm putting f of x into g, f of x in for the x's of g, and I get 3 times 2e to the x, that's the f of x in for the x, minus 2. The 2 is not to the x power, so I can multiply the 3 and the 2, and that would be 6 e to the x minus 2. H inverse of x. Well, that's just reversing the x and y. So h said it was 1, negative 1, so it would be negative 1, 1. H did 2 to 1, so the inverse would be 1 to 2. 4 to 3 gets changed to 3 to 4. And negative 1, 4 gets changed to 4, negative 1. Now it says, and that's what h inverse of x would be. Now it says g inverse. So I take g, which was basically y equals 3x minus 2, and swap the x and y. So we get, instead of y equals 3x minus 2, to get the inverse, I flip-flop the x and y, so I get x equals 3y minus 2. Solve for y, add 2 to both sides. Divide by 3 on both sides. And so g inverse of x is x plus 2 over 3. Could you see that? Yeah. Okay, just check and see, make sure you can see it. All right, next, g of h of x. Well, since h is a set of points, I'm only going to be able to put certain points in, so I'm just going to follow where they end up. So, the first thing that I can put into h up here is a 1. And 1 in h gets changed to negative 1. So I'm going to put negative 1 into g. And g changes a negative 1. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, minus 2 is negative 5. So I started with 1, it got changed to minus 1 by h, and then minus 1 gets changed by g to negative 5. The next point would be, I can start with a 2 in h, and 2 is changed to 1 by h, and 1 is changed to 3 minus 2, 1. Now I will put in the next one that I can put into H, which is 4. 4 into H gets changed to a 4 gets changed to a 3. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2 is 7. Next one I can put in is negative 1, and that's the last one. Negative 1 gets changed to a 4, so I'm starting with negative 1, I get 4. I put 4 into F, that's 12, minus 2 is 10. That's g of h of x. It says graph f of x. Well, again, I'll put it down here so you can see it. F of x was 2e to the x. So if I make a little bit of a table, and I'll do that over here, I'll put in minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. So if I put in minus 2, I get e to the minus 2, which is really, it'll be 2 over e to the plus 2. And I would have to resort to my calculator to figure out what that is. And I can get decimal approximation, but e squared is going to be 2.7 times 2.7 is about 7, 6, something. 2 divided by 6 is about a third. That will probably be close enough. So, if I make these 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got to go to minus 2, and I get about 1/6-ish. Let's find out what it really is. Probably, so I can quit. I'll just go to y equals, mode, it's showing something buddy polar there. Y equals, and I'm going to type in 2e to the x, 2 second ln e to the x, close parenthesis, and then I'm just going to go to the table set. Started at negative 2, going by 1, second table, and it's 0.27, which is a little bit more than a sixth. It's a little bit like a quarter. Minus 1 is 0.73. That would be 2 over e. .73, and this one was 0.27 for graphing purposes. If I put in 0, e to the 0 is 1 times 2 is 2. So I get 2. And then e to the 1 is 2.7 times 2 is about 5.4. 1, 2, 3.5.4, and now I'm going to be off my graph. But I got enough here to show what it looks like. Approximately 5.4, and so I won't go to 2. Okay? Explain why f of x is 1 to 1. So, since it passes the vertical line test, only hits one place everywhere, and horizontal line test only hits places one where, it's 1 to 1. Okay, passes both vertical and horizontal line tests, so it is 1 to 1. Now it says find f inverse. So once again, f of x is 2e to the x So I swap the y with the x, and I get x equals 2e to the y. And I have a number times this, so I can't quite go to logs yet, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get x over 2 equals e to the y. Write this, I want to solve for a power, so I'm going to write it as a log equation. To what power? The base is e, so I'm going to write natural log, so that's log base e. To what power do I take e to get x over 2? And that would be to the y power. So there's the inverse. F inverse of x is ln x divided by 2. You could possibly rewrite that as ln x, and if it's divide, you subtract ln 2, and this is a number. And you could go that way route also. And that's page 1.